Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Jingle All the Way to Online Marketing Success this holiday season. Now, for today's webinar, we're going to be going through about 45 minutes here of content we've got packed up here for you, and then we're going to open up the session to some questions. So be sure to be sending those in as you go along, and we'll do our best to answer those today. So let's get started. So now through the end of the year is a huge time for retailers and organizations of all kinds. I'm sure I don't need to tell you that. The National Retail Federation estimates that the holiday season brings as much as 30% of yearly sales for small and mid-sized retailers. Now, whether you're selling online or you're trying to drive foot traffic to your store, online marketing can help you be successful through the holidays and beyond. But that also means it's an extremely busy and hectic time of year for your business. So today, we're going to share some ideas to keep your marketing on track through all this craziness that's going on, and to make sure that your business or organization can be found and that you're able to stay top of mind during this busy holiday season. Now, as you might imagine, and as you probably already know, online marketing can play a big role in the holidays. A variety of online tools and campaigns can help you reach your specific audience. Now, overall, the National Retail Federation is expecting 55% of all holiday purchases to take place online. Now, if we break that down a bit into some of the biggest drivers, we see that direct website traffic is the biggest driver of holiday sales at 25.3%. This is followed by paid search at 25.1% and email at 24%. So as you can see, a huge chunk of holiday sales are driven by these channels. And this is where people are looking and they're ready to spend their money. So having a plan in place to keep your marketing efforts consistent across all of these channels is huge. So to that end, that's what we're here to talk about today. And specifically, here's what we're going to be covering. First, we're going to talk about how to prepare your marketing for the holidays. Then we're going to cover how to execute your holiday plan. And lastly, we're going to talk about how to prepare for ongoing success after the holidays. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, you may be wondering, who is this strange voice speaking to you? Well, my name is Dave Charest, and I'm the Director of Content Marketing at Constant Contact. I've been with Constant Contact for about 8 years now, working with small businesses for about 13, and really grateful for the opportunity to have you here joining us for today's webinar. And I'm even more grateful for the opportunity to introduce you to our guest, Mr. Ben Behrens, who is a Constant Contact, one of our personal marketing advisors. And for those of you who don't know, Personal Marketing Advisor is our paid service where we work one-on-one, or you get to work one-on-one with one of our experts like Ben to get your marketing strategy off the ground and to the next level. Ben, would you like to say hello and tell us a bit about your role here at Constant Contact?
Hello. Yeah, thanks, Dave. My name, as you've already mentioned, is Ben, and I'm a marketing advisor here at Constant Contact. I've been here for about, I want to say 4.5 years, and I spend my time helping my clients one-on-one with planning, with strategy, best practices for their online marketing. I think all told, I've got about 15 years of experience working in marketing, specifically focusing on nonprofit as well as retail and B2B organizations. So yeah, I'm excited to provide you with some practical marketing advice so you can do more for your business or for your cause this holiday season. Thanks everyone out there for choosing to spend your time with us today.
All right, Ben, thank you so much for taking some time away from the phones today to spend some time with our audience here too. So let's get started. Let's get into this. So let's first talk about how to prepare your marketing for the holidays. So to start, there are these big national holidays that you might want to form messages and promotions around. But there are also some of those big shopping and giving days that have actually really become popular over the last few years. So let's take a look at those. We have Black Friday, right? This is the day after Thanksgiving, and it's a major retail holiday, and it's where traditional retailers go in the black in terms of sales, so they say. And another thing to keep in mind is that many retailers are really ramping up their sales before and during this kind of Thanksgiving time. Secondly, we have another key date to keep in mind, which is Small Business Saturday, one that is very near and dear to our hearts in terms of helping small businesses make the most out of this day. And this is the Saturday after Thanksgiving, or the day after Black Friday. And this day was founded in 2010, I believe, by American Express to encourage consumers to shop at their local small businesses. And then we have Cyber Monday, which this year is December 2nd. And that is the Monday after Thanksgiving. And even though this is really an e-commerce or online selling, it really can be something that you take advantage of with your business as well, particularly if you are selling things or you have some type of online store as well. And then lastly, for our nonprofit friends out there, we have Giving Tuesday, which is December 3rd. And this is the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. And it's a day dedicated to helping others through the gift of donations or volunteering time. And so those are really the key dates that you want to think of beyond just your typical or regular seasonal holidays that you may be considering. So as we think about these days and our regular holidays, what are the steps that we want to go through as we're preparing for the holidays? Well, the first thing that we want to think about is, what is your marketing goal? And that's really the first step in creating a plan. Now, it probably goes without saying, at a high level, most of you are looking to increase your revenue or the donations that you get during this time of year. And I want to encourage you to really put a number on your goal. So if you want to increase your revenue, think about what the total is or the percentage that you may want to increase by. That way you have a number that you can strive to meet and make sure all of your marketing is focused on helping you meet your goal. Now, Ben, I'm curious, have you had any conversations with clients lately about their goals for the holidays to help maybe those joining us here on the line today get a bit more specific in thinking about their goals?
Yeah, I definitely have, Dave. So I'll talk about one of my clients who's a B2B organization focused on branded corporate swag. So their main goal is to stay relevant and top of mind this holiday season. Since they don't typically do discounts in their business model, we've discussed promoting some more seasonally themed items to the businesses that they contract with. This helps their audience to remember them and communicates relevancy to what their clients actually need during the season. I'll talk about another client of mine who runs an online bakery. And this particular business owner, it's just a one-woman shop. She knows her audience quite well. So she's segmented them based on which holidays they'll actually be celebrating this season, whether it's Christmas or Hanukkah or other holidays that are out there. Her goal is to generate more product sales and subscriptions specifically. So she's sending very specific targeted communications to just these segments for those holidays. Since this demographic data is already available to her, she's using it to send highly targeted stuff. It's more likely to generate those sales.
So I like what you mentioned there about this idea of really being highly targeted, because I think that leads us to our next point. Is once we know what our goal is, we really want to understand who is the audience that we're trying to reach. And so you really want to understand who you're talking to. So, Ben, why don't you walk us through this a little bit? What are your thoughts on understanding your audience to really help clients come up with the right offer for the holidays?
Yeah, so this is a conversation that I often have kind of at the beginning with some of my clients when they're fairly new and we're just getting to know each other. I encourage them to think about their best customer. Now, this may be a real person that they've actually done business with or an imaginary ideal customer. You think about, what do they want or what do they need or what's really going to wow them. Another thing to consider is what would make them want to refer you to their friends, and really just taking 2, 3, maybe 5 minutes to think about this helps you to create an offer, and it also helps you find new customers that are like them. So like I said, I usually take a minute or two to talk about this with my clients. We look at things like interests, we look at age, location, gender, income, some other demographic information that's relevant to what they want to do. And this process gives us insight as to what those folks are going to need.
Yeah, I really love this idea of doing that, because it's kind of one of those, it's like a trick to kind of shortcut the process that maybe a larger company or somebody else may go through, or use resources you may not have to do market research or something like that. If you already have some customers and you have somebody that you enjoy working with, who buys from you multiple times or is really just a great customer, if you think about them, kind of short circuits that whole process, which is really cool. So a great tip there to be thinking about. So if we know what our goal is, who our audience is, next we want to try to figure out then what is that thing that, what do those customers find valuable? Why is it that they want to support you? Or what do you provide that makes their life better, and what makes you valuable to them? Ben, talk to us a little bit about this. Like, how does this help make you really stand out?
Yeah. Well, this is the natural follow-on on what we talked about just a second ago. Once you can imagine those needs that your customers have, you're better able to position your offer as the solution to that need. Whether it's something like finding the perfect gift, or maybe they're short on time, you can save them time. You're solving some sort of problem for them. Or even if you're in the nonprofit world, giving them an opportunity to give back, being part of something bigger this holiday season. If you put yourself in their shoes, you can also position your solution as better than your competitors, the people out there that are doing something similar to you, because again, you know their specific needs. You've done that homework to identify these ideal people, and you're more well equipped in that way to express the specific value of what you're offering to them.
Yeah, I love that. And that really leads us to, right, we've got the goal, these three things really working together, the goal, the audience, and what they may find valuable to kind of get you to this point where you can say, all right, what is the thing, or what is the actual offer that I can create for them? And so this is really how you're going to think about engaging your customers. And you can try traditional things, but you can even lead you doing, more creative things. But traditionally, you can be thinking about things like, coupons, free shipping, gift cards, a gift with a purchase, maybe exclusive content, or even some sort of offer or campaign that gets people to support a specific cause. And so we're going to go through some specific examples here in a minute, but I want to point out that sometimes an actual discount or a coupon isn't going to work for everyone. And you mentioned somebody earlier before is they're really just trying to stay top of mind because they're not offering discounts and coupons. But really the idea is to do that, is to get in front of people, and that's really going to help you reach those goals that you're trying to reach. Now, I often see a lot of questions pertaining to offers, and if people should run multiple offers, say one for Black Friday and then one closer to a national holiday like Christmas. And ultimately, I think we would say, yes, you would want to take advantage of those days that you can. But I think that's what it really ultimately boils down to is, what can you possibly do, right? I mean, Ben, talk us through this idea of like, what should people be considering if they're thinking about potentially doing multiple offers?
Yeah, well, as you said, it really is going to vary. I recommend evaluating your own organization's ability to support multiple offers. So if you have the bandwidth, if you got staffing, you've got time and flexibility to do multiple things, one for Black Friday, one for Christmas, or other holidays, and yeah, absolutely go for it. I would reiterate, though, that these different offers should all support an aspect of your main goal for the season. For example, if your overarching goal for the next couple of months is to grow your list, then your different offers should reflect some aspect of that. Or again, gaining more donors or sales. But then again, on the other hand, if you're a smaller business organization without a whole lot of wiggle room, without a ton of availability, it's probably best not to exhaust your resources by running a bunch of different things, either all at once or concurrently. In my opinion, it is better to run one offer and do it really well than to have multiple irons in the fire that puts undue strain on your business.
Yeah, great point. And I think something to think about as we're going through the tips that we're giving you here today is ultimately, take what you can from it and take what's going to be actual feasible for you to do and execute on, so you actually get some real results. And a lot of times, as you're mentioning, we do see people kind of spread themselves a little too thin, and they don't get the actual results that they wanted to get, which could have been rectified by really focusing and been putting the right kind of promotion behind a very specific offer. So let's take a next step here and go a little bit deeper into what some of these offers could look like, or offer some more specific examples that you might consider. So if you're looking to provide a discount, maybe you can provide a percentage off or $1 off through a limited time period. Maybe there's something like a buy two or get one free, or one for you and one for a friend, right? Get creative. Start to think of some ways that you could use these different ideas or make something feel special for the holiday season. If you're looking for something around the holidays, right? We talk about content is one of the reasons why we know people are subscribed to newsletters to begin with, and you could offer things as such as specific downloads for the holidays, such as like 5 tips for better holiday budgeting, or a holiday quick start guide, or 7 mistakes to avoid this year-end tax preparation if you're doing something like that. And really, this downloadable content really gives your audience access to the inside tips and information that you provide, and it also allows you to use your expertise to provide benefit to your customers. And so, as I mentioned, these things can include tips, a study guide related to your business or cause. It could be an ebook, advice on what to do or not to do while using a specific product or service, or any exclusive content that you may have. In particular, we see a lot of things in the form of buying guides. If you start thinking about what things people might be looking for this holiday season, you can create gifts for dad or gifts for mom, gift ideas for this or that. Also a good way to offer a download of information like that. Next up, you might even consider, holding an event for your business during the holidays. I know coming up over here, many of you have heard me talk many a time about our friend Peter over here in Concord, Mass, who hosts a cheese parade every December for this giant wheel of cheese that he plans on selling throughout the year. And so he creates this whole event around this, and brings out people from all over the town, and really shuts down the center of town to kind of do this. And so you might think about running a holiday event, and you might consider there offering early bird registration discount if you're charging for the event. Maybe you have buy one, get one tickets, or limited time offers and upgrades, special seating, all sorts of things like that could be another interesting way to, one, stimulate sales not only for the event, and if you're not doing that, actually to get people to your store or to some place where you can sell more goods and services. Let's move to the next thing here, which is B2B services. And so this is always where, you might be specifically selling to other businesses, and you might want to consider, are there special things for the holidays that you can do to offer your expertise? If you're a marketer, that might mean giving them a free service, like a review of your clients' email newsletters, or when they purchase a consultation at full price. Maybe you could offer a regular discount on services, or maybe you bundle a couple of things together to provide some extra value at a lower rate. So Ben, let me throw this to you. Do you have any examples that you might be able to share pertaining to holiday offers specific to B2B companies?
Yeah, I do. I mean, all told, around about a quarter of the clients that I work with actually fall in the B2B category. So this is a conversation I have pretty frequently with them. Of course, if you're a B2B that sells products that fall into seasonal categories, you can use some similar principles to B2C companies, much like the swag company that I mentioned earlier. I'll elaborate a little bit more on that one. That company in particular wants to promote some holiday-oriented products to their clients, again, helping communicate that they understand what their customers need. So even though they're not technically offering a discount, the idea is there. They want to stay top of mind, and also just encourage some of those additional sales of their products. Now, a lot of the B2B companies that I work for, and a lot of you guys out there, work on more of a contract basis, or you work kind of more in the intellectual space. You're not selling a product, you're selling more of a service. So we sometimes have to get a little bit more creative when coming up with seasonal offers. There is one company that I work with that does workplace training for a number of local businesses, local professionals. Their goal for the season is actually to expand into some new local markets. They're looking at actually widening their circle beginning in the new year. So what we've talked about is creating, like you mentioned a few slides back, a downloads, a free online limited run course. So their offer is entirely information based. What they're going to do with this, it's really exciting. They plan on targeting professionals that match their ideal customer demographics in their local area. They're going to do that through paid advertising, and then they'll deliver the course via email to anyone who signs up. And the really cool thing about that is they've got that email address afterwards. So after sending out the free course, they're then free to promote their paid courses in these new markets.
Very cool. Yeah, and I think just if we move on actually to our next thing here, is really just that idea of hints and tips in general, and education. That type of information is a great offer for customers because people love kind of those how-to information and insider tips, and so you can consider giving them special access to things, or steps to solve a problem, maybe even giving them insights into maybe what the trends are for the next year or particular to your industry, and provide other best practices resources on how to even just maintain the products and services they may already have purchased from you. And another thing that does fit in here too, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, is that idea of a holiday gift guide or something like that. And lastly, for our nonprofit friends out there, is nonprofits really rely on the support of donors and volunteers throughout the year. But the holidays are a very important time for fundraising and giving, as you might imagine, and you can use online marketing to really help plan events and donation drives. You can give away exclusive access to an event in exchange for volunteer hours or donations. You could run a raffle for donors to win a sponsored listing or free advertising, something like that, that you can get out there to the people that you're connected with. You can also think about using limited time offers, for example, donate today to get involved and join our cause. So do you have any other examples, Ben, for like holiday conversations pertaining to offers for nonprofits specifically?
I do. I love this time of year for nonprofits. I actually cut my teeth in marketing in the nonprofit world, and there's so many great opportunities to help people, to help causes. There's some classic examples. Full disclosure, these are not my clients. They're just kind of household names like Toys for Tots or Angel Tree or other organizations that actually generate most of their revenue during this time. So if you're a nonprofit and you're maybe partnering with some nationally well-known organization like this, your audience will almost certainly want to know about how they can get involved. But the fact is, even if you're doing this kind of on your own, you've got your own things going on, you're not planning on partnering with someone else, you can use something like a year-end appeal to encourage your donors to get involved in your cause, because this is a time of year when people are really interested in giving. We can pull on those heartstrings a little bit more, and any chance to highlight specific stories about maybe strides that you've made for your cause in the last year, the year in review kind of time, it'll help those donors feel connected to something bigger, like my donation of money or time or volunteer is actually doing something. Um, it's also true that while doing good should be its own reward, people are still people. So if you're able to sweeten the deal, you can throw in something like a contest, or if you do have maybe a donated good or something that some sponsor has given you that you can pass along. Raffle or something along those lines, then that can be beneficial. One last thing I'll say in the nonprofit world is this is prime time for any last chance tax deductible giving. So reminding people that their giving can be deductible, but they only have a limited time to claim it for this year. It can help to incentivize donors to give now rather than putting it off and doing it later.
Sure. So we have talked about this idea of, our goal, knowing the audience, providing them something of value, and really creating what that offer is. And that leads us to our fifth kind of point here, is that you really need to choose the channel or the channels that you're going to use to promote that offer. And so you're going to want to think about how you're going to use your website. You're going to want to think about email, social, your business listings, and review sites that you may be on, and even using and implementing some paid advertising. And so a lot of these channels really should work together to give you the best results. What do you suggest for channels that they should really be paying attention to?
Yeah, well, when you're looking at these channels, you should, again, think about your audience. I may sound like a broken record, but I'm going to keep saying it. Think about your industry. Where is your audience? Are they on Facebook? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Twitter? Are they on your email list? Think about that for a minute, and then just make sure to be where they are so you can catch their attention. You want to make sure that you're really easy to find when people are searching for what you offer.
Yeah, I love how you keep mentioning that audience thing, and I think that is really the big thing, because I think for any size business, large or small, it can often be easy to get clouded by what you're trying to do, and you really put yourself in the way of thinking about what's best for your customers. And when you're doing that and thinking about them first, you're actually going to get a lot better results and actually do more to return to your business instead of actually thinking about those things directly. So I think it's great that we do keep reiterating that. Speaking of reiterating, let's just recap this section before we move on to the next. And really, we want to make sure that you think through these 5 steps to prepare for your marketing. And we talked about, again, understanding what is the goal. What are you trying to do? Write that down, have that written down. Understand who is the audience. Know who you're speaking to and know who you're trying to reach. So that way you can start thinking about what is it that they find valuable and what's going to make the most sense for you to offer to them. Then create that offer. right? Once you know what that information is and you know the things that would be most likely something they would respond to, create that offer, make it enticing and something that people are going to want to take you up on. And then lastly, think about those channels, which we're going to get into a little bit more in depth here in a second. But think about those channels that you can use to get the word out about that particular offer. Now, before we move on to the next session, I'd love to have, I know Rachel is behind the scenes and she has a link that she's going to share with you in the questions about, we have a holiday marketing guide that is great if you're just looking for some additional information on some of the things that we were talking about here today. So Rachel, if you can hear me and you can share that link out to everybody, that would be greatly appreciated. So with that, let's move on to our next section here, which is really how to execute that holiday plan. So really what we're talking about here is how are you going to use these channels that we just talked about to really get the word out about your offer and make sure that your business is really, to use kind of an overused word sometimes, but optimized for the holidays. So let's take a look at these channels that we can talk about. Now, the first one is your website. Now, this is really a foundational piece of any online marketing you're going to do, but it's a good opportunity to make sure that you're thinking about, is there something that you're going to need to do on your website to optimize it to make sure you're taking advantage of the holidays. And Ben, why don't you walk us through maybe some of the different things that people could do here?
Yeah. So because your website is the hub of where people are going to find you online, you do want to consider changes to your website to promote your offer or your suite of offers. You want to put it right there on your homepage. That's the first thing people are going to see. Consider updating your website's banner imagery, make it real clear. You want to make sure that e-commerce on your site is ready to go if people can shop online. And I always like to say to my clients, it's a really good idea to add a sign up option to your website and do that now. For example, a pop-up form that highlights your offer allows you to capture those email addresses, helps you to tie email and your website together with a nice pretty bow. It also captures those curious website visitors who may, just check out there for a couple of seconds. If they see a really enticing offer, then you can keep marketing them in the long run, and you're offering them something in exchange for their email.
Yeah, for sure. And so this is probably a good time to mention too. I know we run into lots of small businesses out there that, they have websites, but they may not have been updated in a long time. And for those of you who aren't aware, that Constant Contact did release a website builder just recently. So if you're looking to give your website an overhaul and put something in play maybe before the holidays, do check that out. You can get a modern website that looks great and takes care of all that information for you. It's mobile responsive, it's fast, and can help you really put your best foot forward for the holidays, and you can do all of that really within minutes. So be sure to check that out if you haven't already. And then, along with that idea, you mentioned, Ben, the idea of a sign-up option on the website. It's always a good idea to do that. We recommend that because if somebody comes to your website and maybe they're not going to purchase something right away, if you do have something to encourage them, as we were mentioning, and it's that particular offer or whatever the case may be, you have a way to contact them again and encourage repeat business or create an opportunity to create that first business by offering them something in exchange for that email. And so we recommend you're making sure that if you're doing that, you are also setting up some automation on the back end so that as people join your list, whether it's today, a week from today, or a month from today, they're going to get a welcome email from you. We even like to go a step further and say use a welcome series, and that first email that you send out is going to give people the thing that you promised in exchange for their email address, so they can take action on that special offer or get that content, whatever the case may be, right away, so they don't have to wait for that. But then follow up again with some information about the other places that they can connect with you. Again, giving your business more opportunities to stay top of mind with people throughout the holiday season and beyond. So just some things to keep in mind there. Next, we want to think about really updating these listing and review sites. Now, holiday shoppers are often out there trying to make some type of informed decision. And so you want to make sure that if they're finding your business on a listing or a review site, that these sites have your most up-to-date information. Ben, talk about kind of the role that, holiday or these listings and review sites can play during the holiday season.
Sure, sure. So a lot of people, most people will be searching businesses and products, gift buying inspiration ahead of time. So using these business listing and review sites, some of the more classic examples would be Yelp or Google My Business, really helps to make sure that people can find you. An easy way to find the listing sites that are going to be relevant to your business is just to do a quick web search for your business. Type your business name into Google or Bing or whatever you prefer. See which of these sites come up, and then make sure to claim and update those listings to make sure that people know about your holiday offer. And also, if you need to update your hours or anything like that, if you've got different hours than normal, you can do that there too.
Yeah, and one of the most popular ones, particularly since lots of people are using Google, to find this information about businesses that they're looking for, is Google My Business, and it comes up first in search. So maybe if we can do just a quick show of hands, how many people are familiar with Google My Business, and how many people actually have claimed? I'm not going to ask a two-part question. How many people, raise your hand if you've actually claimed your Google My Business listing? Let's just see if we've got any hands raised over here for that. Let's see. Let me go back here. Okay, we've got a few hands coming up. And so this is really important. And I think one of the interesting things here about Google My Business is that they've actually made it really easy to do things like update holiday hours if you've got any special things going on with your business. And there's also ways for you to promote an offer on those things too. So it's really important to think about that. Ben, I think you've in the side business you kind of have going on. You've actually claimed your Google My Business listing and done a few things on there. Anything you want to share about that experience?
Yeah, yeah. So as you mentioned, I've got a side business. I run a recording studio just for fun, and I've claimed my Google My Business listing. It was pretty easy to do. So a while back, I decided to post a video of some work that I did to this listing site. So inside of the dashboard, I went to post. It's over on the left. I selected the category because actually Google My Business enables you to determine whether it's going to be sort of a general post for an update or a time-based special offer. So I chose the general update in this case. Went ahead and uploaded the file. It took me just a few minutes. It was really easy, and it actually resulted in a pretty significant uptick in views. People love to see images. They like to see video in your listings. It helps them visualize what your business is all about.
Yeah, very cool. So I know we have some resources about particularly Google My Business. And Rachel, maybe if you can share, I think we have a couple of posts that we can share on how to kind of create your business profile and then how to use the posts within that. So that might be helpful for you over the holidays as well. So if Rachel, you wouldn't mind sharing some of those links out to folks, that would be great. Let's see here. So next up, we have really thinking about reaching more people on social. You know, of course, you want to update your profile and then put in any information that you have relating to anything. But what types of social media posts should people be thinking about for the holidays, Ben?
Yeah, so the low-hanging fruit, the more obvious examples would be video, pictures, posts about the products, the events, the other things that directly relate to the offer that you've planned out here. But it can be helpful to think outside of the box. Some examples would be things like sharing valuable content. We've mentioned a gift guide, maybe sharing an article about managing holiday stress. I mean, we've all been there, right? I've even seen some people get real creative and ask questions like, "Oh, what's the one holiday tradition from your family that's your favorite?" Or maybe on the humorous side, "What's the most awkward gift you've ever received?" Asking
Yeah.
questions like these can really help to humanize your business, can help build friendly rapport with your audience.
Yeah, I think that's some of the tips you gave there are really interesting because it's really about, creating some type of engagement around your business, and in doing so, you end up exposing your business to others that are connected to those that are connected to you, which oftentimes, make a good or good prospects for your particular business. So another thing I just wanted to mention here is don't forget to encourage people on your social channels to join your list at certain points along the way, because as I think many of you know, that you're kind of beholden to the mighty algorithm in many instances when it comes to what you're doing on social, and when you can get people to actually take that next step and drive them closer to you by getting them onto your email list, that's where you get to control how the conversation goes and how you're reaching out and connecting with the people that are interested in your business. Some other things to think about is, showing some behind the scenes information, letting people know what you have going on, or maybe special things you have planned for the holiday. Use images and video and show your people to just get other people kind of excited by what you have going on. You could also think about creating a specific Facebook event if you're doing things on Facebook for your particular offer or something that you have going on, because this is a great way to kind of get it in front of people, because Facebook is going to, again, prioritizes using kind of things on their platform, and they'll see these events and they'll serve them up to people if they're particularly in their local area as potential things to do. And so this is another good way to get your business exposed to people on these social channels like Facebook. You may also want to think about things like location tagging, and that can be helpful for people that are searching nearby or to find your business or something about your business. So make sure you're using those types of locations on the posts that you're doing. You can also consider finding potential customers by using tools like Twitter's advanced search. This is functionality that will allow you to find, by searching for keywords that people may be using about your particular products or services that you sell. You can even narrow that down to a particular location if you're, a local business. And really, this would allow you to see tweets that are kind of near you or near your business that might make sense to either serve up ads to, or just start conversation with if somebody's looking for something in particular that you might be able to serve and help that customer with. And then, of course, if you're using sites like Instagram, even Facebook and Twitter have these, but a lot more on Instagram is, use hashtags that might make sense in relation to what it is that you're offering. In particular, if you're offering something specific to a holiday time frame or something like that. So again, as you always should, be ready to answer questions and provide customer service to people connecting with you on social media as well. And then also a good time to probably mention that you can also, schedule your posts and manage your posts and respond to posts directly from your Constant Contact account. So really, there's a lot of things that you can now do all in one place right within Constant Contact beyond email. So if you haven't checked those out, do look into your account there and take a look and see what's going on there as well. So number 4 on our list of things here to do is really send an email for your offer, right? We want to think about using email because it's where you can reach people every day, again, and directly in their inbox versus being beholden to that social media algorithm. What can you tell us about some maybe design tips that you're sharing with your clients, or what you're asking people to really think about when it comes to creating a holiday specific offer or email?
Yeah. Yeah, first thing is simplicity is your best friend. You can see the visual examples that we have on the screen here. It really boils down to a picture, about a paragraph or so, and a call to action. So these are actually all holiday templates that any one of you guys looking can actually access from your Constant Contact account. You can start with some of these holiday templates. They can give you a good launching point here. But yeah, it's better for you and better for your audience if you're not going on and on and on. It helps to make sure that what you want people to do, the offer that you're talking about, is straightforward, right to the point, saves you time, saves them time, and it makes it really, really, it just makes it look better.
Yeah. So, we've talked, I know I talked a little bit about that idea of a welcome series or using automation, and I've heard you talk about using automation during the holidays. Maybe, do you have some examples that maybe somebody might want to automate in terms of the holidays?
Yeah. I mean, going back to my example from a little while ago about using like an information-based automation in a B2B context, that makes sense for some people, some of you guys out there. You can also set up maybe an exclusive promo code. Anybody joining your list for this season, you can offer the promo code on your different channels like your website. You can offer it on social media. Make sure that's all pointing back to a sign-up form, and then use an automated email, as we've discussed before, to deliver this exclusive code to new signups. Really interesting fact about this is the usual open rates we see for these automated emails is around about 50%, sometimes higher if you're offering something really good. It's huge compared to the average of about 15 or 20% across most industries that we usually see with just a regular single send or standard newsletter.
Yeah, and it makes sense too when you think about it. I mean, you've got this period of time where somebody's really engaged with your business because they've likely had some type of good experience where they've said, you know what, I want to give my email address to you. And so if you can get to them right away, it's really important. And it shows, it's reflected in the types of open rates and click through rates that you get in those emails. So good stuff there. Any other things that people should think about in terms of email?
Yeah, one that people are asking me a lot about lately is about Black Friday. I
Mm,
say never send your first email about Black Friday on Black Friday. It is the
Yeah, makes
single
sense.
busiest day of the year across the entire email industry, and so you really don't want to be the needle in the haystack. I recommend sending out your first communication if you're doing something for Black Friday. It should go out a week or so before. I mean, even two if you can swing it, and then send a reminder a couple of days before, letting people know about the deal, and then a last chance on Black Friday itself, maybe kind of toward the end when things are starting to slow down. Also, spend some time now to grow your email list. That is something that you own, and so you can entice people to join now so they can receive these exclusive offers, the holiday content, and so other marketing activities that you're doing on other channels can also lead back to your email list because you reach them directly. You said something about the mighty algorithm, and that does
Yeah.
not come into play when we're talking about email.
Yeah, so I want to be cognizant of time here and want to make sure that we get through everything. So I'm going to go through these next sections here a bit quickly because we have covered them in other areas. But typically we get a lot of questions about like, all right, how do I actually write this email? And so I just want to break it down again real quickly. If you can answer three questions, you can really write any email that is highly effective and can drive people towards taking actions that you want them to take. And so the question that we want to answer first is, what are you offering? That can become the headline of your email and really point them to what it is that they can expect to get as a benefit from kind of reading further. Then, secondly, we want to read, well, how will that offer help the reader? And that helps you create that message body that you might use in your email to move people to. And answering that question, what should they do next, which is basically what becomes that call to action for what it is that you want them to do. So there's some things to think about there in terms of writing your email. For our nonprofit friends here, these questions are similar, but they change just a little bit. So let's take a look at how that changes. So instead of what are you offering, it really becomes, what are you trying to accomplish? What is it that you're doing this holiday season, or what is it anytime really that you're trying to get people to understand about your message? And then why should the reader care about that? What is the benefit of them thinking about this particular thing or this cause that you're trying to raise awareness for? And then lastly, how can the reader get involved? How can they help you in your fight to achieve a particular goal for your cause? So just some things to think about there in terms of what you're actually writing in your emails. Now, everything we talked about up until now to this point is really about, creating this great foundation for what your holiday marketing efforts can be. But then there's also this paid piece here that we talk about, and really think about using paid advertising to amplify the efforts that you're doing. Now, there are a lot of options out there. Maybe Ben, you can talk a little bit about some of the ads that people might want to consider for the holidays and beyond.
Yeah. So the first one I'll mention is a Facebook lead ad. Really, the idea with this one is to grow your email contact list. Ties together really well with the automation tools that we've already talked about. And as we've already mentioned here, the added advantage is that you can keep marketing to these people as long as you want. Keep in mind with this type of ad, the person actually never leaves their Facebook feed. So the next one that I'll mention actually does take them away from Facebook or from Instagram. It's a Facebook or Instagram ad. It's really great for driving that immediate business. Anyone responding to this ad should be taken directly to the product page on your website where they can buy right away. It's great to use these ads to create and drive a sense of urgency. And last but not least, I'll mention Google Ads. They're a little bit different because they are targeting people who are already searching for similar products or services to what you're offering. And they work all based on targeted keywords. So you're able to try a few different versions with different copy and track to see which of these versions get a better response. You want to think about the same three questions that you mentioned just a second ago here, Dave, for writing email. What are you offering? How will it help your audience? And what should they do next? Just it's really condensed. Keep it to about 2 or 3 sentences to ensure that you catch your audience's attention.
Yeah. And I love being able to kind of make these comments, but another thing to keep in mind is that you can actually run Facebook, Instagram ads, and Google ads, again, directly from your Constant Contact account, and you can run and manage them directly from there. So just another thing to keep in mind as you're trying to wrangle all of your holiday marketing efforts in one place this year. So another thing I just want to have people think about is just as you get more specific about maybe the types of offers or when you want to do particular things. Recently, our friends at Google did a study, and they found out that there are these types of shopper. You have your kind of evergreen people who shop all season long. You have your early birds who get the most done shopping in terms of shopping early in the season, and think pre-holiday or pre-Black Friday, those types of things. You also have your deal seekers who are really just looking for a good deal. And then you have your last minute shoppers. And so think about that in terms of, are there any of those people that might make sense to create something special for, or maybe even create ads for to reach those particular audiences? So just something to think about. So now we've got an idea of some of the things that we want to do. And you see here on the screen is just like really how do you start to execute that plan, and you'll want to go into your planning calendar, and actually Rachel is going to share another resource for you that we've created, which is a look here at some of the examples we've given you here. And then the next couple of months where you can start to think about like, okay, what do I want to do with November and December, and really start to think about when I'm going to do specific things to kind of bring my plan all together. But your calendar might start to look something like this on the screen, where if we're going to focus on Black Friday, you might be doing particular things leading up to that particular day, to let people know about that across email, on your website, on social, and all of those things. So just some ideas there. Again, one tip is if you're pushing out your offer through social media and email, use a series of emails and posts to remind people about your offer. Don't just like count on one message to do all the work for you. Try to announce, remind people, and give people a last chance to take action, because people are busy and they're not thinking about your business as much as you are. And so it's always good to give them multiple reminders or chances to kind of take those actions. So to recap some things to execute your plan here, really think about preparing your website. Update the listings and review sites that you have with the pertinent information. Use social to reach people. Think about email to drive action around your offer, and then amplify your efforts with paid advertising. If you see people are taking up a particular offer, think about the ways you might want to put that out in front of other people, because it's something that is working for you. All right, let's move to our last section here, which is how to prepare for ongoing success after the holidays. So some things to think about here. After the holidays, you're really going to want to review what you've done. Take a look at the information that you have available to you to see if you actually met that goal. And if you didn't, pay attention to the stats that may be meaningful or help give you some indication of where you could have improved or made some adjustments as you move into the new year, and even make note for next holiday season. Just some things to think about. Ben, do you have any suggestions of what our audience maybe should be paying attention to when they look at their holiday stats, and how they might use that to improve?
Yeah, definitely. So you do want to look at those stats for the ads and the tools that you've used. And just remember, while opens, clicks, impressions, likes, comments, things like that, they're really nice. The metric you pay the most attention to should be the one that directly correlates to your main goal. So we're always going to want to ask ourselves what we can do to make it better, either capturing lightning in a bottle twice for a successful campaign, or addressing possible potholes in an unsuccessful one. So I'll give you a couple of examples. For instance, if you're looking to increase your revenue, then your sales data will actually be the most important piece of information for you. It'll show you which campaigns or offers were the most effective. And to improve your future results, it might help to review your offer, review the verbiage you use to promote it, your call to action, and even the channels and the audiences that you are targeting with that offer. And then you can use that information to ask yourself what you can adjust or carry over for the next time. Another example, if you're strictly looking to increase your leads, take a look at the number of recent signups you have. Is it higher than usual? Ask yourself whether the offer or the magnet that you're using to attract these new leads was appealing, if it was visible or clear enough to the audience. So you want to experiment with some different ways to highlight the value of your offer so you can do better next time.
Yeah, for sure. So a couple things to think about just in terms of like, again, moving beyond this holiday here. So first thing is really create an after holiday offer. Now in 2018, more than 80% of people ages 18 to 24 plan to shop December 26th through January 1st. So think about that. A lot of people typically have cash or gift cards to spend. Ben, maybe walk us through what are some of your suggestions on helping people capitalize on this kind of extra spending money that people have?
Yeah, yeah. Extra spending money and the way that people feel after the holidays, it's a great time to appeal to that. So you want to put out messages like, I get what you really wanted, or make them feel good about themselves by saying, you've done great for everyone else. Now treat yourself. If you are maybe a spa or something like that, you can say, relax with us after the holiday buzz. These things tend to appeal to those more base responses. And you also can consider sending information to people to help out with things like their New Year's resolutions, so that you're not just trying to sell. You can build trust with your audience and reassure them that you understand what they need and what they want.
Yeah. So just some things to, again, remember as any of these things, any offers that you're doing, don't forget to share on your website, listing review sites, social media posts, email campaigns, and use paid ads such as social and Google search to help you get the word out the most about that. So second thing I want to bring up here is this idea of just making sure that you can make your future marketing more relevant. And so I hope many of you out here today are using segmentation strategies to send more targeted and relevant emails to people. And if you're not sure what segmentation is, it's really about splitting your master list of people or contacts into groups of people that have common characteristics or things that you know about them, so you can be more specific in those messages that you're sending to them. So Ben, any suggestions in there that people might want to think about for segmentation, or use maybe the holiday data to segment and send more relevant stuff?
Yeah, yeah. So you take a look at what products and services people may have purchased. If it's a consumable, then you can encourage a repeat business or a repeat purchase after they've ideally consumed it. Or you can do a cross sell, or even asking for reviews and feedback for that product. You think about the types of customers that you have too. If they're new, you can send some communication that maybe introduces your business, shows your expertise, shows other things that they may be interested in. And if they're more repeat customers, if they've been with you before, then you can even encourage referrals. You take a look at the data again and see what people were most interested in. What got the most clicks in your email, what got the most impressions or engagements with your ads. This can help you to gauge what your audience is actually interested in. It can be surprising sometimes, but it helps you to tailor your content as well as even some of the products and services that you offer in the future, so you're more likely to meet them where they are with their needs and wants.
Awesome. Yeah, good points there. And lastly, as we close up this section here, third tip I just want to mention to put out there is that it's not always about sending an offer or offering a special thing. It's about providing value and things that allow you to kind of make deeper relationships with the contacts that you have on your list. And so don't just think about selling all the time. Think about the types of things that you can be providing to, again, show your expertise and show more value to them. Ben, maybe walk us through a couple ideas here.
Yeah, well, the 80/20 rule definitely applies here. So I like to tell my clients about 80% of the time, or 80% of your content should just be beneficial, valuable information. You're building trust with that. You're building your reputation of expertise, and that means that the 20% of the time when you are promoting or you're asking for their buy-in in exchange for that, you've earned it. So you can publish content via a blog on your website, maybe a video or series of articles. And if this is on your website, it really does help with your SEO and helping you get found. You can also show your value in emails where you're reaching people directly in their inbox, sending things like how-tos or step-by-step videos, checklists, we've already mentioned guides, along with tips and best practices, any kind of tips that's going to be of value to the people that are receiving it. You can even highlight some different aspects of your business that people don't get to see all the time, like maybe how it's made, or featuring employees and the value and the expertise that they bring to your business. Anything like that, again, helps to humanize you, build rapport, and provide value to your audience is very, very beneficial.
Yeah, for sure. So just to wrap up here, and then so we have some time to answer questions. Really, a lot of great ideas that we've talked about here today, and really, it's really thinking about one, create that post-holiday offer. Think about how you can take advantage of people with more money to spend after the holiday times. Think about segmenting your contacts. How can you group them so you can send more relevant things specifically to them? And then third, like, how can you continue to show your expertise or provide value to those contacts on your list so they want to stay on your list and not feel like they're just getting asked to buy something all the time, right? So provide that value. Now, once that holiday buzz is over and you've kind of taken these things and you've done these things, it's also time to think about moving into the new year. And you can repeat a lot of what we've kind of talked about here, but you're just applying it to a different time or different season of the year. And so really, spend some time to put a little plan together for that, so you can start thinking about at least getting through the first half of the year, what you're going to do next. That way you don't fall behind when the new year kicks in. So let's just recap what we've talked about here today. We have talked about one, take some time now to plan and write down so it's easy to stay on track. You start by choosing your specific goal and then understanding your audience and know what value that you're going to provide them. And that's really going to help you come up with an offer that works well to entice people and drive those sales that you're looking to drive or donations that you're looking to drive during this season. And then make sure that you're using the foundational elements of those tools and you have those things in place so that people can find you and see the offer that you have available to them. Remember, you're going to want to update your website and listings and review sites and use social media and email. And when you're ready, take advantage of using some paid strategies to amplify those efforts that you're putting out there. And lastly, don't forget to take advantage of after the holidays. And this is your chance to, one, not only measure the success that you've had during the holiday season, but really improve for the future. And so there's lots of things you can do, but today we're really focused on, again, that after holiday spending, staying top of mind with people, and then, as we mentioned, segmenting your email list and sending more relevant information to people in the new year. That's really going to help you improve your results all around. And last but not least, we want to make sure that you're not just selling in your marketing efforts, but part of a successful online marketing strategy really getting found is showing the value that you provide and why you're an expert or the right business for somebody to be working with. So after the webinar today, I'd encourage you to sit down take 15 minutes and plan what, just write on the back of a sheet of paper, grab a napkin, do something, and think about what you might do for your holiday strategy. There's a few days left this month. We've got November and December coming up, so think about your goal, plan a target date to work towards, and then focus your offer around that particular thing. And start to write things down in your calendar so you can start getting going, or use that planning sheet that Rachel shared out earlier, and we'll send you a link to that in our follow-up document as well. So if you want some more holiday tips and tools, you can visit us at constantcontact.com/holiday, where we'll be sharing some other specific information and some resources and tools for you, as well as information about our webinar next month, which I'll share some information on in a minute. And if you have any questions, we can help. You've got this, you've got us, is what we're saying these days, because, well, we want to be here for you and answer your questions and help you as much as we can with your marketing efforts. So you can go check out constantcontact.com/marketing advisor. You can find some information there about how you can contact us directly if you want to just pick up the phone and ask some marketing questions or talk to somebody. We also have a copy of our Making Sense of Online Marketing book there that you can get a digital copy of as well. I think we'll be sharing out some links to that information. And as I mentioned, our webinar next month will be Last Minute Holiday Marketing Ideas to Drive More Business. That will be on November 14th from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be sharing that link in the window as well. If you want to subscribe or register for that today, that would be great. And then lastly, there we go. Also, if we could share, we're going to share out a link. We'd love to hear what you thought of today's session before we get to questions. So we're going to share out a link there where you can provide some feedback. Let us know what you thought of the webinars, and let us know what you'd like to see us cover in the future. So I know we don't have a lot of time left, and so I apologize for that. We had a lot of content to get through today, but I want to try to at least take a handful of questions to see what we can answer here. So real quickly, some quick questions we can answer here is one. This comes from Meg, and she asks, do you have a small business Saturday email template? And yes, Meg, we do. We have several in the template picker, and you can go into Constant Contact, go to your template picker and just type in the word Small Business Saturday, and all of those will come up for you. So be sure to take a look at that. Another question that I had here is I need to know how to advertise without going broke. Facebook ads for this month are at $120 and not one sale. And that's a message from Kathy. So I'll offer a couple of things, and Ben, I'll throw it over to you to see if you have anything to add for this. But I think one of the things to think about is you might want to think of these things in stages sometimes. One, you want to think about your targeting for one. There could be a reason there you're not narrow enough, or maybe you're too wide or too narrow, depending on what's going on there with your particular targeting for your particular message. But using some of the tips we talked about here today, do you have a very specific person in mind on who this offer would be of value to? That's something can also help increase the effectiveness. The other thing to think about is we mentioned Facebook lead ads as well, and sometimes you may want to just invest some money on generating leads for your business, and then you can try to sell them on the back end as you get people onto your email list. And that might be a better way for you to actually get more qualified people onto your list, because you're not just asking for the sale, you're providing them with something of value that they might want to get in exchange for that email address, and then that in turn that kind of creates a more qualified lead for you. So Ben, anything to kind of add there on that?
Yeah, definitely. I would say that the fewest steps in between people seeing your ad and actually taking advantage of it, the better. You want to make sure that, if they are going through something of a roundabout process to actually take advantage of your offer, that may be scaring some people off. I will second what you said about the lead ad. Depending on the nature of your business, sometimes it takes 6 or 8 touches for someone to actually take action on it. And so, offering them something of value in exchange for their email address and sending it out right away can really be a great way of keeping them around for the long term.
Yeah, makes sense there. So here's a question just about holiday event emails. And so the question is, how far in advance should businesses send out holiday event emails? I work for a restaurant looking to promote Thanksgiving dinner and New Year's Eve. As I think a lot of the information that we had here today talked about this idea of giving people kind of multiple chances to take action, announcing something, reminding them about it, and providing them kind of a last chance to take action. And in particular, that varies on when you'll need to actually take those actions or do those things, because it depends on the nature of the thing, right? And if you're thinking of things like Thanksgiving dinner and New Year's, those are a little bit different than somebody kind of coming into the store to purchase something or making an online purchase or something like that. And so you may want to think about potentially letting people know months ahead in terms of making your announcements, or letting people know that those things are there, strictly because there's a planning element involved with an event of that nature, where people might be thinking like, hey, what are we going to do for what are we going to do for Thanksgiving, or what are we going to do for New Year's? And so you can really start those, give people, be part of the conversation when people are starting to make those plans. And so there's something that I would think about there. I think we're going to take one more question, because I do realize that we're over, and I apologize for that. And like I said, we'll be taking a look at a lot of these questions and providing some follow-up information for you in the email that you will receive along with the recording of today's session. But let's see, I want to find one more question here. Ben, I don't know if there's a particular question that you see that you'd like to answer, but let's see.
So many great questions, it's hard to choose.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see.
So there's one from Jill here. It says, how
Sure.
often should I contact a potential donor? Once a day or once a week?
Mm-hmm.
That's where I would say, gauge the engagement of that particular donor. I guess if it's a potential donor, you don't want to, I wouldn't recommend going the once a day route. If you've got a donation drive or something that is, specifically time-based, send something out to announce the drive before it happens. And then as the drive is going on, you can periodically touch in with, the progress of things, and again, the call to action to become part of it, to donate to it. But yeah, I would say that overall, once a week is a pretty safe place to start. You often want to experiment. You want to try and gauge it here. Dave, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think, the thing to think about here, and particularly in that case, is a lot of times is about the story that you're telling. And so really think about not just asking for donations, but really sharing parts of the story that make sense to share? Like, so what is the cause? Like, what are the things, who are the people that are impacted? How does, the potential donor, what does their contribution actually do? Like, what are the things? And you share those stories and share, how you help overcome certain challenges, or what programs you help to fund, and do those types of things. And you can really think about sharing bits and pieces of that story over time, which, if you can do that in an engaging way, gives you multiple reasons to contact somebody, and it kind of compounds on itself as people are reading those messages, and give them more or move them closer to actually making that donation, if those things can make sense. So I would say think about doing something like that, where you're not just saying donate, but you're actually providing a story and giving reasons why you should consider donating and doing that type of thing. So it's 3:05. I apologize that we didn't get more time to answer your questions, because we do love doing that. But again, I will mention that we will send some follow-up information for you, so you can at least see some more answers to questions that were asked here today in the community. And if you haven't joined us there yet, please do, and ask your questions there. We've got a whole team ready to answer questions for you there as well. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some time with us this afternoon. Big thank you to Ben for being here today, one of our personal marketing advisors. Ben, thank you.
My pleasure, David.
And a big thank you to everybody behind the scenes helping us pull off these events all the time. We appreciate all of your help, and we appreciate all of you here for joining us. Thank you, and I wish you a healthy, happy, and lucrative holiday season. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.